I hope you're filming that, because this will be good stuff.
Let's just go back to just doing it with me.
You already do everything. They don't need to really think. You're now inadequate. Some of them are going to feel like.
Okay, stop. Let's
get started. They think that you're doing the cooking and running kids around and the business and the nurturing.
And you say I don't go to the grocery store, but I go to the grocery store too.
I know, about the same percentage of time. You're right. That's like me saying I make.
Stop!
That's like me saying I make calls. I make calls.
No, you don't.
I do.
All right. So today we're going to talk about splitting. Stop it. All right, today you guys, we're gonna share about how Shawn and I split our household and business responsibilities. And I know it can be crazy if you're an entrepreneur or just even a husband and wife trying to juggle it all with kids. And so we work as a team, right? We're a team in business, we're a team we're a team in parenting and in marriage, and that's kind of how we look at everything. And what we've done over the years is we've tweaked things, we've changed things, we've made adjustments, we've taken on different roles. As we had more kids, as we had our first child, we kind of shifted roles a little bit. Mm-hmm. As we had our second and third and fourth child, we dramatically had to shift roles several times. So I don't think that there's any one role that one of you should do. We've kind of gone back and forth of what works for us at the time. And I'll just tell you, it takes a lot of communication.
Yep, and a lot of trial and error.
Yeah.
There was also, what we're doing now isn't what we were doing even a couple months ago because of COVID-19.
Yeah.
But it's also not what we were doing 3 months ago, a year ago, 5 years ago. It was all different. It's all evolved and changed. And as kids change in ages, as they have different things that they're doing, different activities.
Yeah.
You've had change in health and diet and all kinds of different things.
And when we were starting out, we in business, we didn't have kids, and so we were both kind of involved in the business. We were together all the time, and we were communicating constantly.
And we still are.
Yeah, but we were broke also, so it wasn't like we could delegate to staff or have our housekeeper clean our house and things. But as we started
our apartment. Yeah,
our little tiny 600 square foot apartment, I think we had that down just between the two of us. But
still wasn't clean.
But we, as we started to make money, we got part-time little staff that worked, a couple days a week, few hours a day. A spouse of maybe one of our business partners that needed to make extra money while her kids were in school. And then as we made more and more money, we had a housekeeper come in once a week and then, did those things. So it doesn't have to be that you delegate a ton. You can work just the two of you as a team as long as there's good communication and there's a plan. So what we've done is, instead of saying, I'll do this, you do this, and then we're kind of each other's boss saying, well, you didn't do it, I did my job, you didn't do your job. We've done that a little bit, but honestly, I can't change him. He's not going to change me. And we have different strengths, and we definitely have different passions and interests, but we have a common goal. And so we've sat down so many times over the years, but definitely in the beginning. And I remember sitting in that little 600 square foot apartment with our notebook on our lap, and saying, what do we really want out of life? What are we doing this for? Why are we working so hard? In the end, what does it look like? And we got a lot of clarity on that. And so we were both excited about where we were going, where we were headed, and what we wanted our life to turn out like when we did have kids. And so when you're both on the same page and you're both excited about where you're going, then you can learn to make adjustments more. If not, then it's like you both have a job and you both have a really sucky boss, right? Because you're telling each other, hey, you need to do this, and I did my part. And so I've had to learn over the years, and I don't know about you, Shawn, but I've had to learn to just appreciate what he is good at and just appreciate his strengths. And and even though maybe he's not doing what I'm doing or doing it how I would do it, because we definitely have a different approach on how we tackle a business thing or even a parenting thing. We try to get on the same page in business and in parenting and pretty much every area as far as our philosophy of how we raise our kids and stuff. But we're just different. We're a different approach. We're different personalities. So I just instead now have, and this has taken some time, but I've had to realize, I'm not going to change him. He's not going to do it the way I do it. And so I have to just appreciate everything he is doing. And if he doesn't do that, if he wasn't doing what he was doing, I couldn't, with sanity, do all the stuff that I do too. So.
But the key, I think, has been that we are proactive. We're not reactive. So even all the way back to before we had kids, it was, okay, what can we proactively do every day to be the most effective in what we want to accomplish in our lives? And then as we had our daughter, it was, okay, what are the proactive things we could be doing to raise our daughter, have her still get the nurture she needs, have her still learn what she needs to learn and know and understand, and be there for her while we're growing our business. Then when we had our first boy, you know, that added a different dynamic, but it was always, okay, what can we be doing to just make our situation the best it possibly can? And so instead of reacting as things happen and as they were thrown at us, we just, that constant communication of, okay, what do we want? What do we want for them? What do we want for us? What do we want for our business? How do we want to feel spiritually? All the combination of all of those things, and then putting together an evolving plan to get us as close as we possibly can. It's never been perfect, but we also don't miss things, really. We don't miss important things as far as, like on the faith side.
You're talking about the kids stuff?
Everything. On the faith side, it could be, you know, maybe we're not doing daily family prayer and scripture study and stuff, but we're still doing the things that when we have those conversations with our kids, they're spiritually strong. They understand. They have a good base. They have a foundation. They, you know, so we might not be the most perfect in those things.
We're striving to be better, though.
Always, we're striving to be better.
I think if you're trying to do these things, and whether that be the spiritual area, the business area, you're trying to get better all the time, and you're trying to get better at communication all the time and tweaking everything. We're talking about, you know, how do you do it all and how do you delegate between the two of us, you know, all the stuff that goes on with the kids. We simplify first, right? Simplify your life, streamline your life, where we take out a lot of stuff that's not necessary. You know, we're not super materialistic. We're not, you know, we have faith, family, business, you know, and all of those things that we're doing are to strengthen our family first. So if it's, you know, sometimes parents, they have their kids in so many different things and they think that's what's strengthening the family, but it's actually a burden to the family because they're not having dinner together. You know, they're driving kids from here to there, to, you know, and so we have 4 kids. And so even though they're only allowed in one thing at a time, so if they pick, you know, this sport, then that's what they're doing this semester or whatever. And so even though they're only in one thing at a time, it still seems like because there's 4 of them, there's always something. There's always somewhere to go, something to do. And
it's kind of like the warning, know when to say when, to stop people from killing themselves drunk driving. It's the same thing as a parent. Know when to say no, is to stop yourself from killing yourselves emotionally because there's just too much going on that you're committed to. And then you spread it all too thin, and then the experience isn't a good, memorable experience. It can become a bad, memorable experience for them.
And that's overcommitting yourself in other things too. Like, you know, just we are both very involved in church. We have responsibilities there. We're Sunday school teachers right now, and you know, next month it could be something else. But you know, so service is important to us as a family and as a couple. You know, but we're not going to overdo it. You know what I mean? We're not going to like just do too much in any one area that's going to hurt the family. That's going to stress us out. If we're stressed out as in business or any area, then we're going to not be as effective as parents or as business leaders, and also in our marriage and how we communicate with each other. And
if it feels really too much, then we're good at communicating that to each other as well, which I think is more her than me.
I need your
because
support.
I'm good at not taking on too much. I'm good at saying no, and I'm good at not committing to telling people I'm going to do something if I know my plate's too full already. And that's a little harder for Jamie, I think. And so sometimes she'll get to the point where she's just like with this whole COVID-19, she's like, oh my gosh, the kids need homeschool now? And she looked straight at me and said, you're in charge of that. I'm not doing it, right?
Not
like
it.
That's you. And so I was like, oh, it was an unspoken thing. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, that's going to be hard or whatever. It's just doing it. And so she hasn't even really been like maybe a couple times she'd been like, are they getting stuff done? Are they whatever? It's kind of terrifying thinking I'm in charge of their schooling. But they've done it. They've done all their assignments. They're getting it done. They're not behind. Their grades are still good. They're actually, one of them's improved. And it's fine. It's gotten done. But that was it. It was like, okay, you're in charge. I took over. I had no idea how I was going to do it or whatever else. And I definitely haven't done it the way that she wanted it done, but it's getting done and it's going well.
Yeah.
So it was
Can
one
I
of those
say
things
something
that,
about that?
yeah.
We, like I said, we're definitely different personalities, and I think if you're, a couple trying to do all these things, your spouse is going to have a different approach, right? And so for me, this is the way it's done. This is the best way, and then for him, I look at it as like he's like a monkey, right? And the monkey is looking up in the tree.
Looks-wise?
Both, acts-wise, everything. No, but up in the tree, he sees those bananas, right?
Smell?
No, you're good there.
Okay.
But the banana, he sees these bananas, and he wants to get these bananas. And the monkey's, he's going to find Shawn's going to find all kinds of different creative ways to get those bananas. For me, I might say, here's how you get those bananas, and this is the way you do it. But for him, he's going to be like, okay, well, maybe I'm going to throw something to get those down. Maybe I'm going to climb up the tree. Maybe I'm going to swing from that branch. Maybe I'm going to get the elephant to get him down for me, or the giraffe or something. That's just kind of how Shawn is. He's very super creative, and he finds fun ways to get it done. And so when your spouse is doing something, don't shut them down because they're not doing it the way you want it done. I've learned the hard way over a period of time to really zip it, you know what I mean? And just let them do it. And if the job gets done, what do you care? Like, what do you care? If in the end it gets done and it's not the way you wanted. And so that happened to me when we were, again, trying to delegate responsibilities. And I said, okay, I'm going to start doing more in this area. Can you now start taking over the finances? Like balancing the checkbook and, getting everything ready for the accountant.
Which I was terrible at.
And...
But it had to get done.
It had to get done. And I said, if I'm going to do this, can you do that? Again, this communication. We've tried lots of different ways, different things. But I remember giving him that checkbook, and it was like, okay, do it. But not really letting it go. And saying, he's trying to take this responsibility from me, but I wouldn't let him. I'm like, but you're not doing it right. And that's not how I would do it. And so I think that the communication has to happen. A plan has to happen. And the plan's not set in stone. You can change it. You can, rearrange those things. Take a responsibility back if it's just not something that it's working. When you start to make some more money, maybe finally we got a bookkeeper, right? And we delegate, because neither one of us were wanting that responsibility of kind of, documentation of stuff. So now how we do it now, and again, this has changed, is we both are a team in the business. So we both communicate with everyone that we're involved with in business, all of our team and mentors and stuff in business. And he'll have some great ideas, and I'll have some great ideas, and we just communicate that way. We coordinate our calendars. I still use an old paper calendar, and he uses his phone, and we'll almost every day say, hey, so-and-so has this, we have that. We'll have our, the kids' school stuff in there, and we really try to say, what can you do? What can I do? So that we can, at least one of us, be at all the kids' stuff. Shawn, I kind of put him in charge of the sports, the kids' sports stuff, because we have a couple kids that are super athletic that really are into that. And so he's actually the coach of the baseball team for years now. Head coach of the baseball team. He's been assistant basketball coach. He's been assistant soccer coach.
Football.
Yeah, football. And that's just I'm not going to be good at that. You know what I mean? So I show up and I'm a cheerleader. That's what I do. But he's kind of in charge of, making sure that the schedule is up for the sports, and I'm aware of everything. And so I've delegated that to him. Groceries. We've kind of done different things where we order, our groceries to be delivered. Now with COVID-19, that's kind of what most people will probably be doing in the future. But
it's hard though, because a lot of them don't have times.
Yeah. So we kind of figure out what works there. But with the kids, we both do all of it. And with the cooking, we both cook. There's not something that like is beneath either one of us. Like that's his job or that's my job, or except for picking up dog poop. That's not a woman's job.
Or mine.
It's our kids' job.
That's why we have kids. But there's also specific things that are never going to be delegated to me. Like the nurture of our kids is not going to come from me.
You're pretty
the
good
majority,
at it.
yeah, but the majority of it's going to come from you, and that's something that that's just a core belief that we both have, but that doesn't mean that she needs to spend more time with the kids to give that nurture. So I do, majority of the running around of their school stuff in the morning. I call myself a goober driver,
Drop-offs.
right? I'm like an Uber driver, but I don't get paid for it, so I'm a goober. So I do all the driving around the kids every morning, every night when they're in school. Same with most of the church stuff, same with all their sports, same with all the, when they're even at the house, a lot of the stuff that they do at the house, I'm supervising, watching over them, whatever else. So the majority of the time I'm with them. So I spend a lot more time with them, but Jamie probably spends
Driving
more
around,
quality time with them. She spends more time in conversation, more time in through some of their issues, or when they're having tough times and tough things going on in their lives. She'll have more of those heart-to-heart conversations, or I guess more nurturing heart-to-heart conversations.
We both play with them.
Yeah, we both play with them, but it's also, when I have the conversation, they tend to be shorter, and guys just want to fix stuff. So it's like, oh, this is happening to you at school, this is what you do. You punch them in the face, right? Or you, okay, I don't say that. But that's like a guy thing or reaction, where the nurture part really comes from her. And so I think we see that in a lot of couples. They just think that the mom has to be doing all these things to have the time with them. And that's not, for us anyways, that's not the case. She doesn't need tons of time for our kids to feel like they're getting the nurture from her, the care, the concern, her love. All of that isn't dependent on how much time she has. And I bet they feel probably even more emotionally connected with you than they do with me, even though I'm with them a lot more.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a lot more, but yeah, you're definitely doing a lot of the, like, dropping them off at school and all that stuff. But I just honestly think that either role could change all the time. There was times that I was doing more of the drop-offs, and it just, whatever's going to work for what's happening in your life. And you talk about it with your spouse, but then involve the kids in it. And we have family councils. Once a week at least, a family council. And we're all members of this family. We all have a say in this family. And let's talk about what's on the calendar. Let's talk about what's coming up. Let's talk about what's important to you. Let's talk about what you're having a hard time with. What do you need more of? And you'd be surprised, as long as you're consistent with this, how they will communicate with you what they need. And you can monitor week by week attitudes shifting, and especially teenagers and those types of things. So we'll talk to the kids about stuff, and then Shawn and I will have our partnership meetings. We're partners in business, and we're partners in life, and we're partners with our kids, and we'll have our partnership meeting. And we'll say, hey, what do you think is going on here with the business, and what do you think it's that we need to do more of? We do our date nights, but maybe at some points we need to do a little bit more of something. And then we have, what does this child need? What does that child need? What do you think about this? I think that you should maybe do a daddy interview with so-and-so right now. And so as long as there's a lot of communication, and I know that probably sounds like even more work or even more time that you don't have. But guys, you have the time, I promise you. Simplify first, remember. Simplify first. Pull out any unnecessary things, the time wasters, the spending too much time on social media, scrolling mindlessly. If you're sitting, finding yourself sitting and watching TV and vegging out, those types of things. If there is something that you can delegate, like the groceries being dropped off, that you can now free up time and squeeze a little bit more hours out of the day. And when Shawn and I do our partners meeting, it's usually when the kids are in bed anyway, when we're sitting in bed, with a notebook on our lap, just kind of brainstorming out what we, again, want our life to turn out to look like. And how we can get more happiness into our marriage and more happiness into our kids' lives. So guys, if you can streamline your life, simplify a little bit, if at all possible. Again, don't be overloaded with the kids' activities or your personal activities. If there's something that's not serving you, again, faith, family, business. If it doesn't grow those three areas, we don't do it. We don't do it. And so we'll find more time. And if you can't make it, I can't express enough the importance of the family councils and these little partnership meetings, even if they're quick, of just kind of coordinating calendars. And if you are needing more from your partner support, let them know. Don't just build resentment and be like, one day, you're not helping me. Why am I doing all the work? And you explode.
Or disappear.
Or disappear, yeah, whatever your coping method is. No, just tell them, like, hey, here's how I'm feeling. I need a little bit more support in this area right now. Will you take this off my plate right now so I can focus on this? And if they say, hey, no way, I'm not good at that. No, and then you brainstorm it out and you come up with the plan. And you just, again, keeps evolving. And I promise you, if you just are committed to the communication and committed to personally growing as a couple, growing as a family, personal growth is so important, and working on yourself, reading books that maybe, help you with these types of things, seeking out mentorship of people that are successful in these areas, you'll just keep evolving and growing. And hope this helps, but I hope that you'll grow happier and stronger, and that chaos calms down a little bit more.